start off today's practice, I really wanted to incorporate a little bit of what I learned from this weekend's training on self-care strategies for chronic pain. Um, so we're going to start in a seated position, and in like most classes, and some of this can look very familiar, but just to bring a little bit more awareness to the way that we can empower ourselves. So find something that will actually have you get to relax your lower back. Your spine could be nice and straight. So if you notice your knees are high up, like higher than your hips, this is where block or cushions or a bolster is very helpful in that sense. It can assist you. And what that does is, of course, allows that pelvic floor to rotate downwards so that your knees are a little bit lower. So when that happens, then your lower back's a little bit straighter, and then your spine is nice and stacked. So feel free to do that. But most importantly, it's being more in tune to your own body. So just because I may be sitting in a certain position, or you were even able to sit in a different position a week ago or a month ago, whatever, it's how your body is signaling things to you. It's almost like in Philippians we talk about, let your gentleness be evident to all, and the Lord is near. Talk about, like, for anyone who's gone through any type of acute pain, something of an event or a trauma, or maybe a fall, we get that massive acute pain. It's pretty jarring. But then what happens a lot of times for chronic pain is the tissue actually already healed, but now the central nervous system somehow is stuck in that loop. And so what we're going to do is try to be more attuned to our body, and maybe have to retrain the brain to say, you know what, it maybe has already healed, but our mind wants to make sure that we don't experience something like that again, right? I mean, so it's a good thing for us to have that kind of pain to ensure that we're going to make any precautions to avoid pain like that. But we don't want to live in fear, and that's why I think this is actually really ideal, because with 2020 in particular, but in any situation, we're going to be facing different challenges and such. So I'd like for you to just sit in a nice, comfortable seated position, and place your hands gently on top of your thighs, and just feel your elbows maybe come back toward your rib cage slightly, so that your back is able to open up. Your heart, your chest is able to open up. If you like, you can close your eyes and just start thinking closer into your own breath. So just no specific control right now. Just breathe here with your inhalation and exhalation. And as you're breathing here, I'd like for you to check to see how you are doing today. Maybe both from the physical sense and also your mental state. Notice if anything's tight. And then perhaps just invite your breath to be the main focal point. So as you're breathing here, just imagine you're actually following your mind with the breath. So as it's inhaling, perhaps you can feel it going up your spine to the top of your head. And as you exhale, you can actually feel like this light coming down the top of your head, your crown of your head down to the navel, your spine, breathing toward the back. Continue that. And then set your intention, what you want out of today's practice. One of the things you're going to hear me ask is go to different percentages. So if you tend to like to go a whole full 125%, well, we're going to ask you to go maybe 25%, 50%, and 75%, and different poses that we normally practice. So even as you're breathing here, instead of going for your full deep breath inhale and full deep breath exhale, feel what happens when you go only 50%. How does your body react to it? How does your mind feel with that? And now maybe you want to go a little bit higher to a 75% of your capacity. Again, check in with your body and your mind. And then go to whatever percentage you prefer. Then we're going to open our eyes and bring our hands to our heart center. As we inhale, we're going to lift our hands up toward the sky and bring your gaze to follow your thumb as it inhales upward. Exhale, just bring it back down. Your hands all the way down. Follow your thumb with your eyes. Inhale, sweep it back up. This time we're going to separate and allow your right hand to go behind you toward your right. Your left hand is going to go to the outside of your right thigh. And then again, just 70%. Don't go your full deep spinal twist. Just feel yourself a little bit toward your right side. Keep breathing here. Inhale and exhale. And check to see if your left sits bone and your right sits bone are connected to either the ground or your block or your cushion or whatever you're sitting on. And is your crown of your head still up toward heaven? Breathe here and just sense again, how does your ribs feel as you're inhaling here? Is there any resistance? And as you exhale, you feel a little bit more easier way of twisting it out. Now, if your gaze can go over your right shoulders, again, not to your full extension, just a little bit, about that 70, 75%. Breathe here and exhale. And go over to the left side. So as you inhale, bring both arms over up toward heaven. And as you exhale, bring it over to the left side. So again, now only 70%. Don't go for your full twist. And stay here and feel the connection of your breath again. Sits bone connected, crown and head nice up toward heaven. Just awakening our spine some, but giving it the gentleness so that it can start feeling safe. And that's what we want to do. Make sure we know that we can keep our body safe, keep our mind so it's not trying to force it any. And just imagine as you continue to breathe here, that refuge that we have with God. He gives us this free will, but many times we tend to try to force ourselves to go beyond what our bodies may be ready to do. We can do all things. However, in the same token, do we do things beyond what we should be doing at that time? Again, check over your left shoulders, not at the full capacity. As we inhale, our arms up to heaven and go over the right side, and perhaps it's a little bit more open. So now you're 70%. It may feel like you're actually twisting a little bit more so. Again, if not, that's okay. We're not trying to go full dip, but you're noticing how now the spine is a little bit more open. Not going to resist. Go over the other side. Inhale, arms up, over to the left side. So now you may notice you're a little bit more of a spinal twist, but don't force it. So go on your own, 3 breath cycles to whatever position you want. So whatever percentages you want. So you can go back and forth, nice little spinal twist. Really connect to your own breath. So if you want, you can even close your eyes and just allow this beautiful union between your mind and your body. We know how amazing the breath allows us to connect to spirit. You can just go back and forth, however way, just connect to your own breath, your own flow, your own practice. When you feel like you've balanced between the two sides, just face back to front with your hands back onto your thighs comfortably. Or reach both hands out to the side, trying to touch the floor gently. And inhale your left arm up toward heaven. Have your right fingers pointing out, and I want it to play like a little bit of itsy bitsy spider. Let it creep out toward the right a little bit, but keep your left sits bone still connected. And then as you exhale, kind of let it slide towards you. Now bring your left hand over your right ear and slowly bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. Now gently, you're not really pressing your head down. If you can, if you want, you can even maybe grip on with your left fingers, grip onto that top part of your ear, that nice little curlage area, and you can even massage it, okay? There's all these little acupressure points. That's only if it's comfortable, so there's no need to grab it. And then play that little itsy bitsy, like creep out that right fingers a little bit further away from you. Keep breathing. Are you breathing or are you holding your breath? And then as you exhale, you're going to slide it back in. Inhale your left arm all the way down to the left side. Inhale your right arm up to the sky. You're going to reach out your itsy bitsy left fingers toward the left side, but keep your right sits bone connected. Get a little bit of a lateral stretch. Now we're going to bring our right hand over our left ear. Bring your right ear toward our right shoulder. So instead of scrunching up your right shoulders up there, just relax now. And if your hand can't actually touch your ear, that's completely fine. You can actually just plant it right on top of your head. No need for it to try to force anything. And allow that left finger to kind of slide towards you. And then the same thing. So as you're kind of bringing that slight little lateral stretch, now see if you can do that little creeping out your left fingers toward the left side even more so, a little bit further away from you. You're feeling that stretch. Breathe here. It's very common for us to hold our breath. When we hold our breath, we create a little bit more anxiety in our system. Back to our pranayama, nice exhalation. And stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And then the same thing, if you want, you can use your right fingers and just grab the top part of the earlobe, the top piece, and you can just kind of give it a massage. Inhale your right arm up again. Exhale all the way to the right side. Let's draw some big shoulder rolls. Inhale it up. Exhale, let's sigh your mouth out, open mouth, guys. So as you inhale it up toward your ear, exhale it down. One more time. Inhale it all the way up. Exhale it, sigh, relief. All right, let's get onto our hands and knees. And so check with your knees. If your knees want to get a little bit more padding, you can always put some blanket or towel underneath it. Your knees are going to be at hip width apart. Directly under your hips, and then your wrists are going to be directly underneath your shoulder width apart. So we're getting ready for a cat-cow. So when you check your fingers, you're spread out wide, index finger pointing straight up, your feet are directly behind or directly in the line of sight for your knees. And in this case, if you're familiar with cat-cow, we normally go with the inhale, drop our belly down toward the floor, lifting your tailbone up, and your gaze comes upward. But we're going to go to that 25%, 50%, and 75%, okay? I know you've been doing a lot of cat-cows beforehand. I really want you to sense your 25% here. So as you inhale, just drop 25%. Okay. And then as you exhale, let's just go and exhale into our cat 25%. So you're just raising your spine upward a little bit, just putting a little bit of pressure into your hands, or actually your fingers,
thumb, not as much on your wrist. As you exhale now, let's go into maybe 50%, so just a little bit more. Perhaps your gaze is up a little bit more. You're probably just looking at the top of your mat. As you exhale, go into 50% of your cat. So tailbone's a little bit tough, but hardly any. And your spine's upward. Go into your inhale, maybe 75%. Just take stock of what your spine is feeling, maybe the rest of your body is feeling, and exhale into your 75%. Now again, I'm going to allow you to go to your own breath cycle. So connect with your own body on whatever percentage. So you may prefer to start going to just 75% back and forth, and then your 75% may feel like it's actually deeper because your spine's awakening. So this is really nice to allow your body, your spine to say, oh, I love this motion. You're just lubricating all of the nice little vertebrae, all this little this area, vertebrae. So and make sure that your lumbar, your thoracic spine, they all get part of this beautiful connection that you're having, this nice safety net. There's not trying to say like, oh, we're not going to go too deep this time, are we? All right, so we're going to go back into neutral. If your hands are tired, a lot of times being on the wrist, we can always flip our wrist right now. So let's flip our right wrist to the palms facing upward, not putting any weight on the actual wrist. We're just going to rock it side to side a little bit. Much gratitude for the support it's been providing us. We're going to flip it back and then do the same thing with your left hand. So we're just going to flip the left palm upward so the fingers are pointing toward your knee and just kind of rotate it side to side. All right, so we're going to go back into our tabletop. So we're working on the back. So in this case, we're going to extend our right leg behind us straight back. You can always keep your big toe onto the floor if you want, but if you want, you can go into straight back. You don't want to go beyond your spine, so it should not go higher than your spine. Feel that one. And if you like, you can always extend your left arm straight forward, thumbs lifted upward, palms toward the center line. So your gaze is still down toward the mat, crown your head toward the top of your mat, and keep breathing. So just feel that. When you're ready, you can always drop your hand down, your left hand comes back down, your right knee comes back down, and just feel how that feels. Just draw some circles slightly around with your hips, giving a little motion to your knees as well. And rotate it the opposite way as well. Let's do the same to the left side now. So back in your nice neutral spine, but in tabletop, extend your left leg straight back, or again, you're still working core, you're going to have your left big toe touch the floor. That's completely fine. You just want to make sure that your hips are still even. So take notice again. Did you start leaning over toward your right side? So if you try to have the 3 support legs, or in this case, hands, your 2 hands and your right knee making contact, you're noticing how you're really requiring your core to work. So you can stay here. This is completely fine. Or if you like, you can always extend that right arm forward, thumbs upward, palms toward the center line. So you may notice how one side's a little bit easier than the other side. That's okay. We keep breathing. Remember, you're keeping your body safe, so don't force to do something it doesn't want to do. Take stock, you can always bring your hand down. You can always bring your big toe down. You're still working the core. So for back pain, a lot of times it has to do with the core muscle as well. All the supporting areas around it. So we're going to be targeting all those different areas. So let's bring our right hand down and our left knee down and draw some circles. Now, if you have a block, you can bring the block between your legs and slide it down toward your heel so that when you come back almost in a child's pose, so as we bring our hips down toward our heels, the block is going to be between your ankles. So as you put your head down, what you may do is you may want to bring your hands back behind to where your heels are at, so that your thumb is pressing right kind of like underneath where that shin bone is, that ankle bone is. Feel like this little divot there. Again, you may want to just draw little circles with the thumbs on that area. So let me give it a little bit of description. You know where the Achilles heel is, so then you feel the ankle bone. So just feel yourself kind of drawing circles around that area. And if your head is touching the mat, or if you want to place a block there, you may even feel yourself shaking your head slightly, like saying no. Rock your head back and forth, stimulate where the third eye is at. So we're getting a child's pose here, and we're stimulating some of our acupressure points. When you're ready, you can always sit up or slightly in a kneeling position, right? So if you don't have a block, that's completely fine. Sometimes for people, it's a little intense on their knees, so a block, you can always choose what height kind of gives you a little bit more allowance for the knees. So again, you want to listen to your own body in that sense. So now that you're up a little bit more upright, you may want to grab your feet with your hands, and you're grabbing both sides of the heels. So you know when someone used to give you this foot massage, I know you think wrong about the foot, kind of help relax that area. All right. Now, here's where we're going to get into our lunges. So we're going to bring our hands back in front into tabletop. We're going to extend our right foot forward to where between the two hands, so into a lunge. Now, again, this is where if you have blocks, that's fine. You don't need them, but you can have 2 blocks or books or whatever props you want to help reach them. So your right ankle is below your right knee. Your left knee is behind you. So we're in a slight low lunge. Now, not intense, so back to the 25%, 50%, 75%, okay? This is why instead of stretching down there, just feel yourself, feel the hips, feel the hip socket. If you prefer, you can always place some padding underneath your left knee. Now keep your left hand on either the block or the mat. I want you to inhale your right arm up toward heaven and follow your gaze with that thumb. So right hand up, exhale it back down. You don't have to go all the way up high, so it's like your 25% to 50%. Inhale all the way up. There's a little bit more of a spinal twist, but up toward the top part, so your thoracic spine. Exhale it back down. And take stock. What is your body telling you? Is it saying like, there's a little bit of twinge, then you just back out of it, but you're still getting a little bit of motion to it. Inhale it all the way up. Exhale it back down. So you may discover, like with each different breath and each opening up, your spine's actually getting a lot more lubricated, and it might be more inviting to reach all the way up to heaven. All right, so now that your hands back down here, I'd like for you to use your thumb. If you're looking down at your right foot, where the big toe and the second toe is at, see where your ankle bone is. If you were to draw, and you can use your thumb, press down from where your shin ankle is, kind of go toward that where the phalanges, meaning the bone, the joints between the big toe and the second toe is. There's that webbing. So if you did the web there, come up toward the shin bone, but press into there, and then you can find there's a little bit of space between where the two joints meet. Feel that area? This is one of the forward gates. So when you have your thumb there in between that area,
just draw gentle circles in that area. This actually is supposed to help with providing more energy and also help reduce stress, anxiety, really good part for your health. So more is not necessarily better, so do not give yourself these noogies, you guys. So nice and gentle circles. And then let's slowly start straighten that right leg. So you move your hand from there, straighten your right leg. So we're getting a little bit of hamstring stretch, but don't go deep. Listen to your body because everyone's going to be different. And perhaps this is the area that's been really tight. A lot of times when with tight hamstring, might be connected to your psoas. And if you like, you can now make little knuckle. So if you were to make a fist with your right hand, your index finger, like that little digit there that's sticking out there, if you were to give someone a little noogie, go to where your patella is, which is your kneecap. On the outside of it, I want you to draw a line coming down on it, and then you feel like a little indentation down there, and then I want you to just press gently, and then you can feel a little bit of sensation there. This is another acupressure point. So the interesting thing is when it's released this way, this is what I discovered when it's open up this way, you can feel it more. If you were to bend your right knee again, it's like you don't really sense it, but then as soon as you open up this way, I can notice it more. So see if you can discover that area. Then you can go back and forth between the two. So if you want to go into your lunge and hamstring stretch, feel free to do that. So it's what your body's preferring at the time. All right, we're going to switch sides. So before we do that, both hands will be on the floor. Tuck your left toe. Take a step back with your right foot. We're going to go into a downward facing dog. Downward facing dogs are so healthy for us. We're getting a little bit of inversion. And then be kind to yourself. So allow it to stretch. You can bend one knee, extend one heel to the mat. So if downward facing dog is not that accessible to you, because sometimes we don't like that, you can always go to a table, just get a slight little inversion by placing your hand on the table and then doing almost like a forward fold there. This time we're going to drop our right knee down, bring our left foot forward so that our left ankle is beneath our left knee. So we're back into the other spot. Again, just feel your body starting to open up, your right your right hip. Keep your right hand on the block or the mat. You can now inhale your left arm up and follow your gaze with that left thumb, but go 25% upwards. Don't go too high. And then bring it down. And then your next breath cycle, go 50%. And then 75%. And then feel what feels best for your own body. And it will tell you how far it wants to go. So you could be tight. You might have had some type of acute injury or maybe just one of those stressful days where perhaps you don't want to go really deep. And just getting some of that motion is what you need just to keep the flow going. amazing for me. This side usually is my tight side. And just by going much more slower for my percentage of twists, it's amazing how I'm actually now can go full twist and it feels so comfortable. All right, we're gonna look down to our left foot, and with that thumb, your left thumb, I'd like for you to find that spot again. We're trying to get that gate where it's between your big toe and your second toe. It's not at the rib at the top, but it comes toward your ankle. So right before you get to where the joint meets, find a little spot there and just draw a little bit of circle, just a little bit of pressure, gentle. This is why we're talking about gentleness. You can just either press it in there or just draw a little bit of circle. There's not a lot of space. Just take stock. How does it make you feel? If you're thinking, well, I don't know, it doesn't do anything to me, then maybe it doesn't do anything for you. So this is where you become more attuned to your own body. And this time we're going to start allowing us to have that left leg hamstring stretch. So you might want to start straightening up that leg, and you can always bring your hands back, bring blocks back, or whatever you prefer. But when you bring it back, can you see if maybe you're starting to shift a little bit to the right side? Try to get a little bit of alignment there. And you can kind of go back and forth in that sense. So just a little bit of flow. And then the same thing with that, what I call the knuckle sandwich. So if you're in your hamstring stretch, you make a fist with your left hand, your index finger is still bent, but you're using that little knuckle and you're pressing right underneath where the patella is, that kneecap, but you're on the outer side, so you're on the left-hand side, kind of go down a couple inches, and then you're gonna feel this little divot. This is one of those things where I really wish we had live in-person class. So when that time comes, guys, we're definitely going to do this and I'm going to make sure we're getting the right spot. Draw a little circle. And feel the difference in it when you kind of go back and forth into your lunge and then your hamstring stretch. All right, let's bring our hands back onto the mat. Tuck your right foot, lift your right knee, come back into a downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. You either drop your knees or slowly bring yourself down toward the mat. All right, you're down toward your mat. And then as you bring your hands like a little pillow, so your head be gently on top of your pillow, keep your feet directly behind you. So for back care, it's important for us to really work the back. So this time, I'd like for you to just lift your right leg straight up. So knees stay straight. Lift your right leg up just a little bit, 25%, just 25, not the full amount. Feel how your back feels. Keep breathing. In fact, as you're laying here breathing, you can probably feel even your breath pressing into the mat. And maybe perhaps a little bit of your back ribs. Bring it back down. Do the same with your left foot. So left leg up, 25% only. Back down. Maybe 50% with your right leg. Back down. 50% with your left leg. Go for a couple of breath cycles. And take awareness what your body's telling you. If that felt fine, then you're good. If it doesn't, you can always go back down to 25%. Great. Now this time you're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to go into our little baby cobra. So 25%, you guys. So 25% for your baby cobra. Lift up. Gaze is just at the top of your mat. Exhale back down. Inhale 25% only. Exhale back down. Maybe 50% this time. Exhale back down. 50%. Back down. And if it feels good, if your back still feels good, you can go 75%. And remember, you don't get more yogi points for going further. The best thing is you're becoming more aware of what your body is wanting to do. Go back down. And you can decide if you want to go more or less. So yogi's choice. Listen to how your spine's signaling to you, and even your arms, your hands, even your glutes, the rest of your body, your neck. By giving yourself more time to listen, you're able to respond properly. And that's the same with God. How many times are we so distracted that busy with things? So many things are vying for our attention. We need to give it space. We need to allow space and time to hear from God. All right, back down. So you've probably done many little baby cobras by now. This time we're going to lift both feet up. So 25% both legs up. Back down. 50%. Back down. All right, so you know where we're going. So if you want, you can now bring your hands out as cactus. If you want, just lift it up 25%. Your arms and your chest. Gaze is up toward the mat. Exhale back down. Bring it back up 25 or 50%. Exhale back down. And if you want, you can even lift your legs. So your legs have been doing its work, so listen to your own body. Go as many times as you want, or as little times you want. If you want, you can just now go into child's pose. That's where we're going to all get to after this. Really working the entire back. Let's all go into child's pose. So we're going to place our hands underneath our shoulders if you were in little semi-locust, and go into our child's pose. Whoa. And just really, really enjoy this feeling now in your child's pose. For me, I still like my knees to be kind of close, but some people actually prefer it a lot wider. So yogi's choice. If your shoulders feel a little tight, always walk your hands out toward the mat, just giving a little bit more space. Or if you prefer, you can even bring your hands down by your ankles, palms facing upward. All right, let's go walk our hands further away from us. We're going back into our hands and knees. We're going to tuck our toes, get ourselves up into a downward facing dog, and then slowly walk our feet up toward our hand. We're going to get into our forward fold. However, be kind to your lower back. So if you want, you can bend your knees so that you're not stretching it a lot. Hang here, grab your opposite elbows and ragdoll. Then slowly on your own, just start standing up into our mountain pose or Tadasana. Shoulders back. There. How's everyone doing? Good. All right. So we're going to now take a step back with the right foot. So feel yourself in a nice, comfortable standing position, but your feet are spread out, so you're nice and stable. Your left foot is facing toward the top of your mat, knees over that left ankle. Your right foot, you don't have to be exactly perpendicular to each other. You can have it slightly at an angle. And we're going to go into our warrior one. So warrior one, facing toward the front. Exhale into warrior two. So rotate our ankle, bring our right hand behind us. Left hand still in front, facing toward the same direction as your left. Let's bring our right hand to match your left. The palms here. So you can feel a little bit of twist. So if you're feeling a lot of twist, and maybe that's uncomfortable for your lower back, you can bring your stance a little bit closer, okay? So this is where really be in tune to your own body. I want us to follow our gaze to that right hand. So as our hands are facing each other, as we inhale, we're going to start straighten that left leg as we open up our right hand. Inhale, open up. Follow your gaze to your right thumb. Exhale, bring it together, bend your left knee. We've done this beforehand, all right, a little clenching thing. Inhale, open it up. Follow the gaze with your thumb, or your thumb, follow your thumb with your gaze. Exhale, back to each other. Inhale. Beautiful, you guys are doing great. Exhale. We get a little bit of flow, but we're also working our mind, our brain, because it's following space, and then we also know where our body is relative to space as we're trying to get our left knee doing something different than our right arm. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And we started late, so we're going to ignore that. Inhale. As you're open up, let's rotate that left foot. So we're staying in straddle. As your feet are nice and parallel with each other, feel comfortable as you slowly bring your hands to your hips and maybe bend forward at the hips. So not at your spine, at the hips. If you like, you can always bring a block underneath you. And then both hands are underneath you. Just bend your right knee. Get a little bit of stretch and walk your hands over toward the right side. So your left leg straight, right knee bent. And then bring your hands over as you straighten your right leg, bend your left knee. Really helping to stretch out some of those areas that our lower back's connected to. Right side, left side. So again, you notice we're not going deep. You decide your 25, 50%, 75%. What's most important is just getting the motion in the different joints, also the fascia, because we're going slower, we're allowing the different webbing in our body to stretch. There's just more and more research showing how important it is for the stretching. And depending on how you feel, you may, again, that's if your body wants, it may decide, hey, I want to go further. But again, it's up to you. By going gently, by doing less, it actually allows you to do more. All right, so now we're going to do the other side. So when you're in the center, you rotate your right foot to, I guess now you call the back of your mat, or if you want to switch sides, and then your left foot's out, and then we're going to come up into your warrior one. So there you go. As you exhale into warrior two, you rotate that left heel. Your right hand is toward the, pointing the same direction as your right foot. Left hand's behind you. Let's bring your hand, match each other, your left hand match your right. You're gonna do the same thing. So you're gazing to follow that left thumb. As you inhale, start straightening your leg, Bring your left hand behind you. Exhale it as you do the quenching. So listen to your own body. If you need to, you can always open up or close your stance. So by going deeper, well, that might be more than 75%. So you can always change your stance. And how many times have we found ourselves in a situation like, wow, maybe I've gone too far? Well, if you discover that you've gone too far, back off. Right, one last time. Open up. This time we're going to bring your right foot so that it's facing the same direction as the left foot to the side of your mat. Bring your heels inward. Make sure it's not too wide. And kind of go down in our goddess pose. So slight little squat. So this is where you really want to feel what your body's speaking to you. So what happens for some folks is maybe their toe is tucking outward. You don't have to tuck it all the way in, but feel how your body's responding to you. So if you want to do a little bit of cat-cow with your pelvic tilt, you can feel how that feels. See if you can keep your heart still nice and open. If you want, you can place your hands as if you're receiving what God has to offer. You can choose if you want to bring your right heel up and then exhale it down. Inhale your left heel up. Exhale it down. You can do the same thing with the right heel, just smaller percentage. You don't have to go full amount. You can choose if you want to go higher. If you want, you can even choose to do both. So here's an added challenge. When you bring your right heel up, can you bring your left arm up and exhale it down? Left heel up, right arm up. Inhale, exhale it down. Inhale, right heel up, left arm up, exhale down. Right hand, left heel up. All right, let's slowly bring our heels down, our hips down. We're going onto the mat. All right, you're probably like, when are you going to do the other side? So if you happen to have a tennis ball or a therapy ball or a lacrosse ball, anything like that, so tennis balls are wonderful. You could place them inside a sock. So I'm just going to show you that I have 2 tennis balls. If you don't have them, I'm going to show you what you can do with your fist, but 2 tennis balls. You don't want it so close together. So what we're going to do is we're going to just place it underneath where our sacrum is. So you can actually not use the tennis balls, but if your sock is kind of wide, you're going to have it like at either ends of the body. So here's what's going to happen. Because I want to make sure that you see what's going to happen before you get in position and turn your head. So when we're lying down on our back, we're going to have our feet, sole of feet on the floor, knees bent, just almost like as if we're doing bridge pose, okay, when we're on our back. Then as you slightly lift your hips up, you're going to place those these tennis balls or whatever balls underneath your gluteus maximus, aka butt cheeks, okay? So now you can see if you don't have tennis balls, what you can do is you can actually just make fists, and your knuckles are going to be just working right into that area. And you're gonna find whatever area feels good. But when you're in that area, if you're using your fists, you're gonna just have to kind of use your knuckles and kind of rub it in there. Now the beautiful things about these balls are you can actually kind of start shivering back and forth. It's gonna work itself in there, or you kind of rotate a little bit. Does that make sense? So we're gonna get it onto your back. For some people, if they feel like they'd rather make sure they don't go too deep onto it, because sometimes gravity puts a lot more weight on it, you can decide to go just up against the wall and have the ball against the wall. Now, the problem is the ball always wants to fall, and that's why sometimes the sock actually adds something to it. So if you lift your hips up And place the tennis balls underneath. So first do it to the point where it's not really on the edge, on the outside of your gluteus maximus, so it's more on the medius. So again, not too much weight there. And if you feel like there's too much weight, you can always maybe place a block, put some blankets there to help take some of the weight off. So just as you're laying there, just imagine yourself, that area that's tight, to just kind of melt. Can it melt? Now take stock. Are you tightening anything? Is there anything going on in your jaw or your neck or maybe another part of your body? And then if you want, you can slightly wiggle a little bit left and right. Find that spot, maybe kind of do little circles, almost like when we were kids playing hula hoops, but not quite. A small little motion. And that's just it. We weren't made to just sit like how we're always sitting nowadays. And then if you were making little circles, make sure you go in the opposite direction, hoping to move some of those tissues around, giving some of the blood circulation into the area. And then if you want, you can lift it up and then allow the balls to go a little bit further away. So you're more on the outer side of it. So even when you're like laying on it, almost looks like you're half on it, half off it. So you're getting different areas of the muscle area, but also you're working those fascias as well. So just allow yourself just to melt. And just feel what your body is telling you, because for some people it's like, okay, this might not feel good. So if it doesn't feel good, you have complete empowerment to not do it or back off or maybe move in a different location. So what's happening is your brain is now telling you, or it's retraining the brain to say like, okay, I know if this is an area that feels good, or if this area is not quite ready yet, okay, we're just going to avoid that. But what happens a lot of times is we end up stop doing any kind of motion, which the other tissues need. So then the surrounding areas aren't able to heal, aren't able to provide the proper oxygen or the blood circulation to bring this oxygen and the other nutrients to it. So I have the balls on the outer side and I'm just kind of like wiggling back and forth. So if you want to roll it upward, so it's going closer to your lumbar spine, you can do that. So everyone's different. So you decide what area feels good. And then if you want, you can bring it even a little bit higher up. So just be gentle to yourself. You kind of slightly move up. You're never placing it directly on the spine, but on the outside area of it. So again, if you don't have any of these balls, you can just be using your knuckles, making those little fists. Then what I would recommend then is having your elbows bent and then just kind of laying on the fist area. So because of the knuckles, you can still do the same thing, kind of move back and forth and allow it to use that little point. All right, so let's gently lift your hips up, remove the balls, come back down into your back. You're going to really focus on bridge pose. So make sure your shoulders are down, your gaze is straight up toward the ceiling, your knees are at hip width apart, heels kind of close up to your body. You can't quite feel your heels. So if you have a tendency for your legs to splay outward and inward, you may want to place a block in between. That's completely fine. Tuck your chin down slightly, just a little bit, just to help elongate it, but not to force anything like this. And we're going to do it at the 25%, 50%, and 75% again. So as you inhale, just lift your body up into that bridge pose, but just 25%. So it's barely up. So it's almost like just a little bit of a pelvic tilt. Back down. Really feel your body up against the ground. Inhale up. Exhale back down. So you go to your 50%, maybe it's lifting up a little bit more. And then back down. So now you feel the spine, especially your lower back, opening up a little bit more, maybe a little bit more, perhaps 75%. But again, you guys, you don't have to go the entire way. Maybe 75% if that feels good for you. But each time you're coming back down, I really want you to feel your body making contact to the ground. Feel it feeling good. You don't have to force it to make even the lower back down, but you're giving enough time for the body to speak to you, give you the signal. So perhaps you're noticing that your body just feels a little bit more open. And if you want, you can go further. So you don't have to stay at 75%, but you don't even have to do bridge pose if you don't want to. One last time, we're going to come all the way back down. We're going to bring your right knee to your chest and place your fingers. Hug your right knee to your chest, not forcibly, just a little bit to feel a little bit of release in your lower back. Straighten your left leg. Bring your left knee up. Interlace your fingers around your left knee. Extend your right leg out. Bring your right knee with your left knee. And if it's accessible to you, just maybe bring your forehead toward your knees or toward it. It doesn't actually have to touch. Release it back down. Now we're going to bring both knees over to the right side. However, again, 25%, 50%, or 75%. It may just go a little bit over to the side. And if you want, you don't have to hold it there. You can always put something there to hold it up. So go to whichever degree that you want to go there. So if it's comfortable, you can always bring your entire leg over to the right side, both legs, I should say. But if not, don't go too deep. So you can use blocks or bolsters or cushions and go to that area. So give yourself permission to find out how far it wants to go. Listen to your lower back. If you like, you can bring your bend your left elbow, so almost like cactus. But in this case, I want you to imagine this, for tucking your angel wings under, your left angel wing under, and we're drawing like a snow angel. So imagine your left elbow coming up, still on the floor, and as you exhale, bring it kind of like gripping your left elbow all the way down, staying to the floor, the snow angel. Inhale up and just go to whichever range feels most comfortable. So what you may feel is by doing this, you're even stretching. This is where your rib cage and even your lower back, they're all connected toward each other. Really find how your body works with each other. Breathe. And have your left arm back down. Inhale your knees to the center. Lift both legs up to the sky, both hands up to the sky, just kind of like wiggle it. Hug your knees to your chest. Extend your arms out, and then now you can choose what degree you want it to both sides to your left side. So both knees to your left side. So again, it could be 25%. Like you might want to have bolsters or like almost a whole chair there. Or if it's okay with you, you can bring it lower down. So you can control what feels best for your body. Your right arm is at that cactus, so we're doing our little angel, snow angel side for just the right side. Bring that right elbow upward, and as you exhale, drag that whole right elbow downward. Inhale it up. You don't have to go full up. So again, you choose what degree you want it, all the way back down. Feeling a little bit of stretching along that right back side. Keep doing with your breath cycle if it feels good for you. And if not, you can always stop and go back into the pose that feels most comfortable. So we always want to sit and think of if there's anything that's pure, just perfect, lovely, or just all that stuff. That's the thing to say to keep your mind on. Think of those good things. When you're ready, bring your right arm back down, your left arm back down, and inhale your knees both to the center. Send both legs up, arms up. Bend your knees, and if it's accessible to you, you can go into happy baby. If not, you can just grab onto your shin. Rock a little bit side to side. We're going to go into final resting pose. If you prefer, especially for your lower back, you can always keep your knees bent. So having a bolster underneath it is absolutely wonderful, or you can just have your knees bent. And if not, you can always just extend your leg. So your right foot to the right corner of your mat. Left foot to the left corner of your mat. Tucking your shoulders underneath you. Place your hands out, down by your side, palms facing forward or upward toward heaven. Close your eyes and really find yourself into the position where you're really able to rest. If there's something that just doesn't feel comfortable, you can move around. It's completely fine to find that right position, that correct position, in that perfect spot, just resting in his arms, just anything that might be agitated or anything that might be worrying, you just lift up. As you're laying here in our Shavasana, bring your mind to how your body feels and bring yourself back to your original intention. Feel your breath as you're laying here comfortably. Perhaps your breath as you inhale, you can feel your belly rise. With your exhale, you can feel it just fall. And you feel your feet just being relaxed. To feel like there's contact with at least maybe your heel to the ground. We are in this world, so our feet tend to be in this world, so can it make contact to that? You feel your legs, calves, and your knees be relaxed. If there's any tension there with your exhale, just give it permission to dissipate out. Same is true for your upper legs, your thighs, your hamstrings, your glutes. Maybe you can even feel the hips, that whole contact. Allow it to melt into the ground. Allow anything that might be tight, burdensome to be just part of the past, knowing that there's so much freedom and joy awaiting. Sense in your stomach and in your chest, especially with that breath residing right in the chest, right by your heart. What dwells there? Instead of fear, there be just complete trust and love. Feel your shoulders and your arms against the ground. Knowing that your palms facing up heavenward. Allow you to surrender any stress or tension that might be there. Hold a lot of stress into our shoulders or daily stress, so allow it to be lifted off from you. Same is true for your jaw now. Your head, between your forehead. There's tension there. If you felt that tension in your jaw, just run your tongue from right side to left side of the butter of your upper teeth. Then allow the tongue to just rest gently on top of the roof of your mouth, behind the two front teeth. And can you feel in your mind, not worry, but instead that peace, the peace when we keep our mind on God. a quick scan of your entire body from your toes all the way up to the top of your head, the crown of your head. As you inhale here through your nose, exhale, out breath, open mouth, really just release it. Feel as you're inhaling fully with the love of God. Just release it out. Just spread it to everyone that you want. Now wiggle your fingers, your toes. Bring some awareness back onto this being, and then rotate your ankles and your wrist. Bending your knees. Plant your feet onto the mat. You're going to rotate to your right side or your left side, whichever side feels most comfortable for you. And just stay there for a couple breath cycles. Just allow the blood to circulate back to your lower back, your organs. Then use your upper arms and your leg. Just lift yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Eyes still closed. Hands resting gently on top of your thighs. Thumb and index finger touching each other gently. We're going to inhale through our nose. Exhale, open mouth breath. Deep inhale here. Full exhale. Just feel yourself connect with God as you inhale one last time here. And full exhale. Floating your hands together, palm touching palm, thumb rest right above your heart, tucking your chin down toward your heart. May this practice allow you to know, no matter what degree that we go, keep your mind, keep ourselves connected with God. We know that we can receive the peace with us always, so that we are safe and we receive what is promised to us. Thank you for coming. Namaste.